The king of the north!
I am the dragon's daughter.
I would ride to the wolf, judge the lion.
Hello, sweet summer children. Firstly, shout out to Derek Brock for telling me about Thoros and what he thought Thoros had in the gravedigger scene in episode 1, because he awoke the dragon and I went digging all night and struck gold. So someone in the Brotherhood has dawned and no one seen it. No one. So in this gravedigger scene in episode 1, Thoros comes out while the hound is burying the little girl and her father. He puts his sword into the ground and it gives us some Arthur Dayne Sword of the Morning, Dawn, Tower of Joy feelings. So when I zoomed in, it's not Dawn. The pommel is round and Dawn has a very specific pommel. But Dawn is with the Brotherhood without banners. And I'm going to show you. Chill out. Give me a second to explain. So in my head, when I'm thinking about all this, I'm like, well, it actually would make more sense for Beric Dondarion to have Dawn. Now, I say this because in the books, Beric is betrothed to Illyria Dayne, who is Arthur Dayne's sister. Also in the books, there is Edric Dayne, who is the Lord of Starfall, the ancestral seat of House Dayne. And Edric Dayne is Beric Dondarion's squire. So we know the books and the show are basically two different roads to the same castle. So they're telling the same story, but they're changing their instrument and pieces to fit TV. Now there has been little mention of House Dayne, and Beric Dondarion is the closest thing that we have to House Dayne in the show. But last season, we saw Ned fight Sir Arthur Dayne, the Sword of the Morning, and they made sure to show us the sword and the pommel of Dawn. I think they did this so when we seen it again, we would know where it came from. So I went on a hunt, and hold on to your britches because Beric Dondarion has Dawn. The gravedigger scene was to probably bring some subconscious Dawn thoughts to the surface. While I was looking for Beric's sword, I actually found out how elusive his sword actually is. He keeps it covered with his hand or his horse's head, but then I noticed the money shot. If you look here, you can see the flat semicircle triangular shape with the nipple or lip right at the top of the pommel, and it looks exactly like Dawn. Then I went back and I checked other episodes Beric was in to see what sword he used to have. There aren't really good shots, but in the scene where he was fighting the hound, you still can't see it closely. It doesn't look quite the same. It could be the same. I'm not sure. But this episode also gives us another clue. When Beric uses the sword, he has to cut his hand and use his blood in order to ignite the sword into flames. But in the Game of Thrones Season 7 trailer, the sword ignites on its own. I dug even deeper and noticed in Season 6 that he kept his hand on the pommel, which I believe is the show trying to hide Dawn. They don't want us to see Dawn. They don't want us to see it. So in episode 1 of season 7, as soon as we start to see it, the horse's head pulls in front of it. The sword is there, and then the horse's head is there. It's just as soon as you start to see it. So then when he's walking around the house they are camping in for the night, he keeps his hand on the pommel. So it seems they are trying not to show that. In fact, Beric Dondarion has Dawn. There are all these theories surrounding Dawn being Lightbringer and Jon actually being the person that will wield Dawn. It actually makes a lot of sense when you think about it. Longclaw should technically be given to Jorah. I think a lot of people do want to see Jorah get Longclaw because at the end of the day, it's the ancestral sword of House Mormont. But Jon needs a sword. The prince that was promised needs a sword, and what better way to beat the long night than with Dawn? Literally, the sword is named Dawn, and at the end of the night brings the dawn. Dawn literally means Lightbringer, and the only way we are going to get Dawn in the show is if they bring in House Dayne people with 12 episodes left, or if the only person we know that has ties to House Dayne is the one that has Dawn, and that's Beric Dondarion. Beric Dondarion is dead in the books, So the show is keeping him on way past when his story has ended for a reason. So Talking Thrones has a great video where he theorized that it's going to take more than dragonglass or Valyrian steel to kill the Night King. And I definitely agree with that, especially in the show. We have seen White Walkers get killed with dragonglass and Valyrian steel, but I don't think it will be that simple to kill the Night King. The White Walkers, or Craster's sons that were made into White Walkers, were changed by a touch of magic from the Night King. They don't already have dragonglass in their bodies like the Night King does. On the show, the Night King was made by the children of the forest with dragonglass. He still has dragonglass in his chest. So if dragonglass was going to kill him, he should be dead already. The only thing that can probably kill him is Dawn, Lightbringer. So Dawn is the legendary. It's the ancestral sword of House Dayne, but Dawn is way more than a sword. According to legend, the founder of House Dayne tracked a falling star. When the star landed, they made their ancestral home, Starfall, and from the heart of that fallen star, they forged Dawn. Dawn isn't like any other sword in the Seven Kingdoms or Essos or the world. House Dayne doesn't pass its sword down like maybe Robb would inherit ice. Dawn isn't inherited. Only a knight of House Dayne who is deemed worthy can wield Dawn, and then they become the sword of the morning. In the show, Dawn doesn't have the whole milk glass look to it. It looks like any other sword. It's the pommel they used to show us Dawn. Now, we saw Dawn. We saw Arthur Dayne with it. So if it was just fan service for everyone to see Dawn, then why did we have to see it again? Why did they zoom onto the pommel? Why did they want us viewers to see that Ned brought this sword with him? Because if it's not going to appear again later, it's not necessary. But that's just my opinion. I'm not a director. I'm just speaking from a watcher's point of view. So I think Beric has it, guys. And I think when Beric dies, Jon will have it. And that's what Jon will use to destroy the Night King. If Jon can destroy the Night King, he will use Dawn. Jon will become the sword of the morning to defeat the long night. What do you guys think? Is this Dawn? I think it is. And now it's so deep in my head, I'll be pissed if it's not. And if you don't think it's Dawn, then how else would we get Dawn? And why else would Beric still be alive? I wanted to shout out all my Patreons. Thank you so much for your support. As always, thanks for watching. Please like this video if you like it, and click that subscribe button and hit that notification bell and join the sweet summer family. Okay, my sweet summer children. Have a good day.